Welcome to the Black on Shelf podcast, a podcast championing Black and brown entrepreneurs on the digital and physical shelves. I'm your host, Tanaj Ferguson. This is Black on Shelf. All right, welcome back to the podcast. We are in for a special sweet treat, no pun intended, right? We have Chef Liz Rogers here, founder, president, executive chef of Creamalicious Ice Creams, a line of 2-in-1 desserts. It's fresh baked pastries paired with a homemade ice cream. So you all are in for a treat. Many of you have already had it. The rest of you are anticipating and waiting for it, salivating. So you're in for a treat, okay? Liz, welcome to the Black on Shelf podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Hello, everyone. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for coming. So we're going to dive right in because there's so much to this woman right here. We're going to learn a lot about it in this hour. Liz, talk to us about your background. Much of what we know is you're a chef, you're from Cincinnati, Ohio, but we know there's more. Help us through these layers.
Yeah, so I'm actually was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, and I've been living in Cincinnati a little over half my life. And yes, I'm a chef and I'm an executive chef and restaurateur. I also do a great deal of restaurant consulting and really big product development. I create brands and products for other companies as well. I do have a background in branding and marketing as well.
All right. So that is, we're learning about where all of this creativity and business is coming from. So when you were growing up, what was going on in your household that led you to be a chef and businesswoman?
So, my mom, she passed away several weeks ago. She had stage 4 lung cancer, and that was super devastating. But she was like really my inspiration because my mom was a single parent.
Okay.
She was a welder, and she was the only woman at her job. So I am the oldest of 4. I have 3 brothers, and I was always left to cook and pretty much take care of my brothers while my mom worked. So my mom was more a savory person when she cooked, and my grandmother was more sweet. I always did all my desserts with my grandmother and all my savory dishes with my mom. And I think what really, really pushed me into it is because this really was my mom's dream. So her dream became my dream. But because she sacrificed so much with our, just working as a single parent and taking care of us. And, her job was really hard. She worked as a welder and, had to wear the Rogaine boots and always, getting burnt up and stuff. But, she worked a lot of long hours. But because, she sacrificed so much for her life, to take care of us, I really wanted to, make her proud and so she can live her dream through me.
Wow, that's amazing. So you grow up in this family as the baby girl with the house of boys and a mom that's super ambitious and doing something pretty different. What did that experience look like? You kind of grew up around in a non-traditional space in a way. You're seeing your mom doing this different type of role, and you're in this environment where there's a ton of men around you. How does that shape who you are today?
It really made you tough. The one thing that I loved about my mom, she was very strong, and I got my strength from her. And I didn't really realize how much I was going to need it until, several years of my life, just basically trying to own a business and really capture your dreams and go for your dreams. And, she taught me to never give up because she was always going for it. It doesn't matter if she succeeded or failed, she was going to go for it. And she was just really a survivor. And those were some of the things that I took. My brothers, I had to be really tough because I had 3 little brothers, but I also wanted to be a really good role model for my brothers as well. Just not, I didn't have a bunch of kids and drink, smoke or anything. I played in the orchestra, I ran track, sang in the choir. So I kind of really wanted to make sure that I was a good, example. But the food piece of it was just how our family came together. It was there was just traditions. There was just coming downstairs, on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, having 20 sweet potato pies and tons of peach cobblers and all this stuff lined up on the table, and just waking up to the smell of collard greens and just all kind of stuff. So you just remember those things as a kid, and you just really cherish those things. So growing up in my family, I guess there was just always this sense of independence.
Yeah, you were the oldest
I was the
of,
oldest,
of
yes.
and
Mhm.
you had the three younger brothers. Yeah. So
Yes.
you
Mhm.
were the leader. You were
Yes.
the the big sister telling them what to do and
Yes.
handling business for them. That's
Yes.
right. And our condolences with your mom. I know she's so
Thank you.
proud of you for bringing the
Yeah.
vision to life and for really taking the legacy through for your family. I think you told me before the podcast started, she's still alive through your dream, right?
Yeah, I mean, some of the, as her cancer progressed, one of the last things she said is she was like, I don't want to die. And that's like, that was the first time I ever saw fear in my mom's eyes. But at the same time, I just simply said, you're not going to die. You're going to live on through me, and that was a really big thing. So it was crazy because after she passed and, after the funeral, went to the house and I left to come back to Cincinnati because she's in Cleveland. My brother called and was like, there's a chest downstairs in the basement and it's full of Creamalicious with a lock on it from top to bottom. And it was crazy because I never thought she got to eat the ice cream. And she just collected all this ice cream that's in the freezer, I don't even know when she got it, but it's crazy.
Wow. So she knew what you were building at this point.
Yeah.
What was some of those conversations around as you were getting this to life? What was her support?
Yeah, her support was, her recipes, like, hey, it's got to taste exactly like, peach cobbler. It's got to taste exactly like, which one is, it's the sweet potato pie is her nickname was Gigi. So, that's really her sweet potato pie recipe. And that's what, I named it as homage to her. But, the porch like peach cobbler is really crazy because it's called porch like peach cobbler. And in the South, they left the porch light on. And when we were kids, when I was a kid, we didn't have internet and all that stuff. We played, but when the street lights came on, we had to be in the house. But I didn't realize it until like after my mom passed away and I started going home during the time she was, transitioning. She always kept the porch light on. And I never connected the two when I actually named the pipe. But that porch light was just like, no matter how far you go, I'll keep the porch light on, I'll be waiting for you. And she would always say that to me, like, I'll have the light on and I'll be waiting. So it's like you always find yourself, you can find your way back home and this house is safe and you're welcome.
I love that. You're so creative, right? And I love how you translated this in the names of your products. I'm gonna just name some for the Voss fam. Aunt Pooney's caramel pound cake. And listen, I have been tapped into Black girls at Target while Black, and they just have great things to say about Aunt Pooney's caramel pound cake. I've been seeing the reviews come through and everyone's shaking their leg and just like, this is the stuff. 10 out of 10 ratings. Slap Your Mama banana pudding, right as rain red velvet cheesecake, thick as thieves pecan pie, porch light peach cobbler that you talked to us about, Grandma Gigi's sweet potato pie, shared with us about that one too, and Uncle Charles brown sugar bourbon cake. So it feels so nostalgic. Talk to us about the experience making these flavors.
Very, very authentic. Creamalicious, we're kind of like Disney. We're the storytellers, and each one of those pints have a story. The red velvet cake was considered a celebration cake in the South when African Americans got their freedom back. We spoke about Aunt Pooney's caramel pound cake. She was my godmother. She was a real person. She was super dope. She was amazing. And I just spent a lot of time with her and my best friend growing up. And it was really cool because she like baked these amazing pound cakes in a cast iron skillet. And they were passed down from generation to generation. This skillet's going to be in the family like over 100 years. And it keeps getting passed down. And, it just, that cast iron skillet just has a lot of history. And then Uncle Charles, we all have an Uncle Charles in our family that's super cool, that's wearing the brims, that always got his stash of liquor in his flask. And he's just everybody's favorite uncle. And you can't wait for him to come over. And, the slap your mama banana pudding tastes so good, make you want to slap your mama, but just don't slap the cook because she just might slap you back. So the cool thing about that banana pudding is it's Creamalicious is very culinary inspired, chef inspired, Southern inspired brand. It's super premium pint. There's real banana pudding puree in that pint. So it's not some artificial flavoring or high fructose corn syrup. It's really a culinary dessert. So you get the cookies in there, and then with the peach cobbler and the pecan pie, you get the pieces of the actual homemade butter crust. that whole dessert is actually in there. And we have 52 flavors that I've developed, but I only released 7. So we have another 7 coming out later on this summer.
Wow. So Chef Liz is like, I'm not playing games. I'm out. So if you haven't tasted them all, you basically have to catch up before all the new flavors come, because then it's gonna be crazy at that point. You got 7 more coming, 7 already out. It's gonna be amazing. So these flavors were named after basically the traditions of your family, the recipes of your family. What was Thanksgiving dinner like, or Christmas dinner like at your house growing up?
It was just so much food and so much pecan pie and so much sweet potato pie. That was just the go-to. It was, to me, it was just all about dessert. But it was just all this food, like, and everybody coming over, grabbing food and taking food home, and then you eat, and then you go to sleep, and then you wake up, and then you eat again, and then just finding a place for all the food in the refrigerator. So it's like, it's just about better times. It's just when life was just simpler, when you really thought that, you didn't really have to worry about anything, but just growing up, you didn't have to worry about, getting in fights with your friend and somebody coming back to harm you or take your life. It's about, getting, just having the world, like not even having a worry in the world, not worrying about things. And we didn't have a lot growing up, but it just didn't seem like that. We had enough, and it was okay. There was just no competition to, have all this material stuff. And it was just that life was just a lot more simpler.
Yeah. I love your phrase, a dream in a scoop. Talk to us about what that means for you.
I do believe that there is a dream in every scoop, because when I started this Creamalicious, I was just told no by so many retailers. Wouldn't call me back, doors slammed in your face. And then it just got to the point where, there were a lot of people that were close to me that knew me and was like, you're never going to get in the stores. They're never going to let you in the stores. There's no, minority ice cream manufacturer on the shelf. And, like, well, why can't it be me? So, I don't give up. I feel like there's 3 scoops in a pint. So, there's 3 dreams, like, you got to run towards your dream. You got to dream it until it comes true. You can't be afraid to fail. And that's the problem that we have right now as far as entrepreneurship. Your ideas are brilliant. Your ideas are amazing. But if you ever want to kill a dream, share it with a small-minded person. I'm very clear about that. Yeah. You can't share your dreams with everybody. You can't be afraid to fail. You got to go for your dreams no matter what, because people are afraid to fail. So it's going to keep you from it, and fear paralyzes you. So you just got to just keep moving, because that's what life is about. It's not about the destination. It's really about the journey, and it's about doing something that's got to be bigger than you. And for me, Creamalicious, just making it on the shelf and seeing some of the success it's having, it's so much bigger than me. Even when I pitch investors, we're looking for investors and stuff. It's very hard, even having a proof of concept, being a minority business, pitching investors, because you got to get the right investor to believe in you and believe in the dream. So it was really crazy, because I had someone from a very large company, and they were like, this is a really huge thing. You really should give the community part, give them an opportunity to be part of it. So we're going to have a crowdfunding. We're having a crowdfunding at the end of the month to give people an opportunity to be part of a generational brand. So it's going to be like buying stock in Coke or Pepsi or Disney or something. So, we're really going to be just as big as Ben and Jerry's and any other ice cream company that's out there.
Yeah, we're so proud of you for that. That's why I was so excited to talk to you. This is something very rare. This category is difficult, right? This is not a dry good. There's extra things to consider when you're working with a frozen good. So kudos to you for making it this far. And we know you're not going to stop. We're excited to see the crowdfunding come through. I know you'll get a lot of support. And we'll definitely be sharing it on our platforms too.
I hope so, because, people can invest in Creamalicious when we do it. We won't have as many slots, because I'm only doing a certain amount for that round, but you can invest in Creamalicious for $300. I why I really loved it. I loved it because it's a generational brand, and you know, it'll be great for people to be able to share it with their kids or their grandkids and so on and so forth. You know, it's really huge. You know, when you hear the stories about Walt Disney, how nobody would give him a loan and people were leaving and stuff, and you know, he actually paid some of his employees in stock. Just imagine, you know, what that was like for them, the people that actually stayed and believed, right? So for me, you know, people don't understand actually trying to get in the stores in the 2 top retailers in the world, what that was actually like. That journey was very, very difficult, because the one thing everybody said is, oh, there's too much competition. You know, how are you going to be different? Things like that. You know, we all use cream, we all use vanilla, we all use sugar as ice cream, right? But you can't take away my history. You can't take away our story. You can't even emulate that. I get that a lot. Like, well, what if the bigger companies, you know, they could just create something and put you out of business? Creamalicious is uncopyable. And that's, you know, it's just uncopyable, and it is what it is. And no company's gonna try to, you know, a bigger company can do a sweet potato pie, but okay, people like
they have, right? But this is something different. This is a full brand, not just one SKU that's a sweet potato pie. This is a whole heritage story here that you're building. They're buying into you.
you know? Pretty much. You know, and you know what I have to say about that? Cheers to the underdog, because that's what I am. I'm the underdog. I'm that person, you know, have had businesses, made a ton of mistakes, learned a lot of lessons, but I don't have to live in my lessons. I don't let circumstance determine my future or change who I am. I still am grounded. I'm very humble. When you are humble, you are coachable. If you're not humble, you're not coachable. So you know everything. So, you know, ultimately that's going to be the demise. But at the end of the day, you're absolutely right. It's about being a part of history. It's about being a part of greatness. And that's what this is all about for me.
Yeah. And before we get into some of how exactly the brand started, I want to talk about some of your past life as a chef with restaurants, because this is how much I want people to appreciate where you've come. So talk to us about what you were doing before ice cream and how you landed on ice cream as your product.
I landed on ice cream. Well, prior to that, I sold park bench advertising, and I did a lot of sales, commission-based sales.
You said park bench advertising.
Yeah, I sold ads on park bench. What? I don't know. I was good at it. Somebody taught me. And so I was always that person where you could teach me something, but I'm going to devise my own sales techniques. So I'm like, I got to develop my own sales techniques, because I can perfect this. I can make it better, and I have to elevate it to make it a little bit of my own. So, you know, way back in the day, you know, just devising my own sales techniques, just doing the things that I needed to do as it related to, you know, taking care of my family, you know. So we started there, did the marketing, all that stuff, had a national advertising agency, was open for like 12 years and was super successful. But my passion was to really own my own restaurant. So that's what I ended up doing. And I opened my restaurant in Hamilton, and it was super successful. And people were like, nobody's going to come all the way to Hamilton. And I was like, they are, because I
where's Hamilton, Ohio?
It's like, yeah, it's Hamilton, Ohio, but it's like, it was in a residential neighborhood. It was really off a beaten path. And people came from Indianapolis. They came from all over, because, you know, I made it a destination. So you got to kind of think outside the box. Like, you know, it wasn't just about the food was good, but it was about
what type of food.
So it was Southern cuisine. So, you know,
this is not your first rodeo, clearly.
No. I specialize in Southern cuisine. I can cook anything, but it was about, you know, we pick our collard greens, we peeled our yams. We didn't cook anything out of a can. It was cooked with love. And we knew your name when you came in. It was kind of like a Cheers situation. And, you know, we gave customers experiences when they came. And I always went to almost every table, if I could. 99% of the time, I always made my way out there to thank the customers for coming, because I didn't feel like, you know, it was beneath me, you know, because without them, I couldn't be in business.
Service. Yes.
And then from there, I kind of expanded my brand. It got a little political on the riverfront. And then I ended up shutting down, lost everything, and then shut down for 6 years, and then reopened my restaurant, which is open today and opening 2 others. So, and that's when Creamalicious, I wasn't.
So wait a minute. We can go to Hamilton and catch some of the Southern cuisine that you speak of?
So my restaurant today is in Sharonville. It's called Wing Champ. So if you look up the original wingchamp.com, yeah. So, and it's pretty much all of my recipes from downtown. So downtown is where I kind of really blew up. Craziness happened, you know, a lot of adversity, just a lot of political stuff, and so many businesses shut down in that project. Just a lot of dealt with a lot of racism, a lot of attacks. And I was like, okay, so I pretty much lost everything, had to shut it down. But I'm really appreciative of that opportunity, because that's where I created Creamalicious. So had I not taken that opportunity and taken that chance, I would never have had Creamalicious.
That's right.
So pretty much what ended up happening is my restaurant today, and then you got Creamalicious, and then we have 2 other restaurants that's going to be opening and all the other opportunities. But I think the super blessing for me is I've been able to capture some entrepreneurs on the way and help them build their brands and invest in them, you know, and teach them everything I knew, things that I messed up on and made mistakes on, and, you know, all my lessons, and really was able to pour into them, and they are able to pour into other people. So I love my restaurant. I love stuff, you know, it's kind of like a juke joint. You know, we do jazz, we do live entertainment, great food. It's plated beautifully, and we just have fun.
Chef Liz is all about experience. And so you can see she brought that experience to right to the pint. You can see all of that background that you brought, like you feel it, you sense it in the pint. And that's amazing. One of the things about your story that's so critical is that you've had all these adversities and you didn't quit. You really plowed forward, and you're at this point. I wonder what advice you could give to the Black and Shell family who might be at one of those inflection points that you remember having. And each one of those can create, you know, cause you to stumble or doubt. What's the mindset that worked for you in order to move past all that?
Well, I think, you know, as I had my last restaurant, that I ended up just, you know, losing everything, learning some valuable lessons, and just being involved in things that were just totally out of my control. I think that I was just so used to doing everything by myself. You know, I think you have to at some point understand what your strengths and your weaknesses are. With me, I'm more of a creative person. I can run a company, but in the capacity of this. Operations wise, I'm not your operations person. I can put everything in place. I have the vision. So with me, I'll have people around me to execute. You have to have, you have to understand the vision of your brand. You have to understand your strengths and your weaknesses, and you have to build a team. You know, I talk to entrepreneurs all the time. They think they can do everything by themselves. They won't take the time to invest a few hours or a few months into actually writing a business plan. You know, they think they can just go and open a business. They don't know how much it's really going to cost to run the business, to get it up and running. They think that they can just walk in a bank and get a loan with no, you know, even if, you know, there's cases where we can have collateral and great credit and stuff, and nobody's going to give us a loan. Oh, you're too new. Or there's cases where you might get more money in an idea stage, having a, you know, you can have an app and have a really great presentation and people will give you millions of dollars. But if you're selling millions of pints of ice cream, you may not be able to get that investment. There's just so many variables as to what goes on, but I'm very clear that you have to have a plan and you have to be very strategic, but you can't do anything without a team, you know, and through that team, you know, you have to have your resources, because, you know, an investor is going to invest in you first. You know, the pint is maybe 5th, 6th, 7th down, you know, they're going to invest in you first. They're going to be asking about your team. And there's so many different things that's going to come with that. So I think for me, after having one of the biggest failures, you know, I really had to make sure that I step back and understand, like, getting in the best partnerships too. Partnerships can be very tricky. Partnerships go really wrong when people are not good stewards and everyone doesn't do what they say they're going to do. And I found myself in quite a few partnerships where people were like, oh, I'm going to do this, this, and that. And I'm like, okay, I got the IP, I got the vision, I can execute, I need you to do this. But, you know, people just don't do what they say, and they get caught up in you either want the fortune or the fame. I'd rather have the fortune. You know, the fame just comes with a lot of problems. You know what I'm saying? And some people just want the fame And, they don't understand that, the money's going to come, but we have to run a good business, and we got to be open to learn.
Yeah. Your point about partnerships really makes me think. You've had failures and you've come into successes when it comes to partnerships and understanding what it takes. Talk to me about what you've learned from all of that in terms of what does it take to have a good partnership? What does it look like? What would you do differently in order to assess those partnerships different so that you wouldn't get burned the same way or disappointed the same way? Are there things we can do to avoid some of that stuff?
Yeah, I would definitely start at least trying to have your own resources just in case something happens, because people change. Definitely make sure that you're vetting the person in the situation, just in case that person has to be removed or that person decides that they don't want to fulfill their commitments. How is that going to impact you? What exactly does that do? One of the big things is just finding somebody like me that's going to be on the grind and that's going to work hard, like-minded people, because, you can't make people conform to who you are, so you have to find people that have a like-mindedness for you, for your work ethic and things like that. I think another issue, for me, I was just in a partnership a couple of years ago, just, people come in and they talk about all these credentials that they have and degrees and all this and that. That means nothing to me. It's a lot of that is fluff. I don't have a culinary degree, but I have over 20 years executive chef experience. Like, for me, I get it, like, I just didn't have the time or the opportunity or the wherewithal mentally to give someone $60,000 to $80,000 to get a culinary degree to come out of school making $13 an hour. Now, I'm not saying that I don't recommend someone going to culinary school, because I think that that's great to have those credentials. But if I was going to do that, I'm like, I need to own my own restaurant as soon as I graduate. But since I was able to work 3 jobs and save my money and be able to come up with a brand, and I think selling park bench advertising and marketing and branding really helped me have the vision to brand my restaurants. I took all of the on-the-job experience and I really was able to make something happen. You know what I mean? I've trained some of the top chefs from Wells and Cordon Bleu. You have a lot of chefs that are graduating right now that they don't even know how to make grits. It's like I had like 3 chefs pour all the grits in a little bitty pot, and it's like, oh, I can't stir it. Well, if you don't know, you have to read the back for the directions, right? So that's when you say, looking for people that are more forward thinkers, that even if they don't know something, they're going to take the time to research and find out. I also think that you got to partner with people that have a passion for business or a passion for whatever it is that we're partnering, right? Because if they're wanting to be involved in the business, like, you really need to listen. All money's not good money. You just, for me, I think that, being an entrepreneur, sometimes we want our brands right now. We want to open up stuff right now. We want to take the opportunity right now. And you got to understand that sometimes it's just not your time. And I'm guilty of that. My restaurant that miserably failed, I was very guilty of that because it was shiny. And when things are shiny, we're drawn to the light. We're drawn to all of that. But it keeps us, it blinds you literally. It keeps you from the real facts of, how are you going to handle this big project? You're going to be 20 times bigger than what you are now. And you're thinking in your mind that you can handle it, but you're pretty much by yourself. So, there are many things to consider, in opening a business and partnerships, that is.
And I'm glad you mentioned those too, especially even the shiny. So the partnerships one, definitely an important point. Shiny objects, right? I think in this day and age where you can look on Instagram, social media, and see something you don't have, it's a big distraction from the reality of, can you do it? What does it take? And I think it's 2 things. It's a thin line. It's a thin line to figure out, like, faith that you can do something and knowing that, like, to put in the work to get it done. And then this other piece of desiring something that's not really something you really want, or something that's truly in reach for you right now, something you could steward and take over.
Yeah.
Because we will lose what we can't take care of. We will lose something that's not really what we were supposed to have. So talk to me about what you've identified, like how you've been able to navigate that space of opportunity, and like you've grabbed a shiny object before, and then you've also walked in faith for something that was for you.
Yeah.
How did those two feel? What was different about those, and how do you separate the two for those thinking like, is this thing should I be doing? Is it's this? Only an individual can answer that for themselves, but what are some of the key things to think through to ground yourself on a big decision like that?
I think honestly, just focus. I have had problems like that in the past and today. I'm an artist. I'm very creative. So what ends up happening is, like I'll have a project and I'm good, like Creamalicious has 52 flavors. Now the brand really needs to catch up with me because I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I gotta, like how many, like, okay, so I can't create this, so I have to create that. I have to always be creating something, and my mind is forever evolving. What I think I don't like is like, I would never tell an entrepreneur like, to focus on just one thing. I would never say that because that's virtually, as a human being, when you're an artist, it's impossible. I try not to tell people what they can occupy the space in their brain with. That's one. But I will say that it's always smart, always to do one or two things absolutely amazing than 10 things mediocre. I talk to people all the time. They tell me about they have 8 or 10 businesses and they still don't have any money. So it's kind of like, do we just say that because it sounds good, or what is it that we're really doing? And then opening up a business, really focus. Some of the focus should be on having a brand. When I came here to Cincinnati, I saw, especially minority-owned restaurants, and it's like, I just want to get paid today. But if this is your passion, let's work on like really putting things in place that's brandable, that's really exclusive to you and your brand. I know exactly like what my brand is and where I'm going and grow. Yeah. But it also took a lot of trials and tribulations to that. You're gonna make mistakes. My mistakes was just more public. And so it really caused me to have to really look back and say, okay, this is crazy. Like I found that people really do want to see other people fail. They love it. It's like they're really relishing in the fact that someone's doing bad. And I don't understand that. We're in an age right now where we have all this social media. So now people have a voice and they can hide behind their computers and be very cruel. And so I would say you just really need to try to focus on people that love you, people that support you, whether you got $1 or 1 million. People that are going to be there in your corner, they're with you, they're for you and not just with you. And also, if they took a back row seat to your failures, don't give them a front row seat to your success. Because I got so many people calling me now that wouldn't even answer the phone when I lost my other restaurant. So it's just kind of crazy because things happen in life, and it's just how it is. Everybody wants to be on the winning team, right? But again, cheers to the underdog.
Yeah, that's so true. So you end up having these experiences with the restaurant. You somehow land on ice cream. Talk to us about that moment.
The ice cream was so dope. Like, it's like, I really needed to like.
And where did you learn to make it? You're a chef.
I don't know. I can make things, like it's just, I mean, when I talk to you about the culinary, that's why it's called culinary arts. If you're really passionate, like that's why these guys, they get on Chopped and all that stuff. They're amazing. They pull stuff out. They can make stuff. That's just like, to me, the ultimate talent, they call me the on the fly queen. I'm inspired by things. So if I'm inspired by things, I can do really, really well. If I'm inspired by something, it just makes me create. And I always talk about that sweet potato pie because you don't really see sweet potato pie ice cream. You see pumpkin, and you certainly don't get sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie all year round. It's always seasonal. I'm like, I'll eat sweet potato pie all the time, but you got to have those hints of, I don't know if you got an opportunity to eat the sweet potato pie for Creamalicious, but
I didn't get that one yet, but it'll ship it. Now we're in Jersey. Get it together, Jersey.
Well, we can send you some.
Yes.
But you do smell, you do you do taste the hints of the undertones of the nutmeg and the cinnamon. You taste the sweet potato, but
I
it's
just know
just
it's
like
good.
really crazy. You know, it's kind of like the way that it was captured, just like somebody blended up the sweet potato. It tastes exactly like a piece of sweet potato pie.
Wow.
So it was really crazy, you know, like creating that because I needed it to really, really taste like the piece of dessert that you were eating, you know. So that was a huge, that's why I really had to go and, you know, talk to some food scientists because that was really a challenge. But we really did a great job at really emulating that.
Yeah. So you build this ice cream brand. You went to retailers how soon? Because now we're hearing about you now, but I know you had this little bit of a longer journey doing other things. Talk to us about you got into the ice cream. You started to show it to retailers. What was that time frame for you? I know it varies for everybody, but just talking to your journey and your experience through this process so far, where do we find you? Where do we find you in this process, time frame wise?
Yeah, I think from conception, it really took like six or 7 years, like from conception.
Mm-hmm.
You
So
know,
this has been on your mind for a minute.
Yeah, I've been like in the product development stages for quite some time. You know, it's kind of like, you know, when you hear an album come out, you know, nobody just made it. You know, it's kind of like it takes a while to perfect it. And there's a process that you go through. And, you know, I called up Meyer. They were the first ones that let me in the stores, and that was super cool. And then Walmart and Schnucks and Rouse's. So it's like national, you know, and then I'll be in Kroger in the next couple of weeks. So it was really, really a really big deal because Kroger and Walmart are the largest retailers in the world to actually be in there. So, you know, I was really happy about it. Especially, you know, just getting in Walmart too, being they're a beast in itself. Mm-hmm. And just being, just never quitting because, you know, even Target, you know, kidding in Target because the category manager told me no 3 years in a row. She just would not let me in her stores, mm-hmm. you know, and I was happy that she gave me an opportunity. And then, you know, the ice cream, the brand kind of went viral like last month. It went viral. Yes. And so I know that was great because I really need people. There are quite a few stores that still will not let Creamalicious in the stores, you know, and I really need people to really call these stores that are in their areas and ask and request Creamalicious, like Wegmans and HEB and you know, Southeast Grocers. There's a lot of stores, you know, because there's no reason that Creamalicious can't be, you know, the next Ben and Jerry's, or just, I'm not trying to be the next Ben and Jerry's. I'm not trying to be the next Jenny's or anything, but guess what? I'm just trying to be the best version of Creamalicious that I can be, and whatever height that is, you know, that's where I feel like we shouldn't cheat ourselves. If we can be global, then that's where we should be. If it's meant for us to be global, or if it's meant for us to be national here, you know, then that's what it's going to be. But I don't want to cheat the brand out of whatever it has coming to it.
Yeah. So Chef Liz, with your experiences here, and this is normal, right? Let's normalize when you're trying to get into retail, you're going to get some no's, but the key thing is to not give up and just be like, all right, they told me no. And that's, mm-hmm. it takes this resilience, which you definitely did. What were you doing in between the no's? Knocking on other doors, developing? Oh, yeah. Talk to us about what you were doing.
Yep, just developing and keep knocking on doors and keep sending out my decks and keep sending emails, you know, just you just got to keep at it. You know, they don't answer your emails. You just got to keep making it happen. A couple of them, I'm like, hey, have you gotten any? I called and was like, did you get my emails? You know, and then it's hard to get anybody's number because nobody's in the office, you know, and just really get in there, you know, and just working through the departments. I'm actually one of the spokespersons for Meyer for their diversity supply department. And, you know, just talked about just a journey of diversity supplier and just really getting in there, learning and navigating through the system. And are these retailers accommodating for smaller businesses and businesses that do not have as many resources and not paying shelf fees and different things like that. So we are in the process of, you know, just really making a difference. And I know that there's other ice cream brands out there that want to get in the stores and that want that opportunity too. But it's just, there's a process to it. And when people call me, I'm always free to give the advice, you know.
Listen, you heard that? Catch
Oh,
her
yeah,
while she's
definitely.
here because Chef Liz not going to be available like this for very long.
Yes,
Okay.
I will, because that's my dream.
Your
It's kind
dream.
of,
Okay.
because I feel like, I'm trying to start the Elizabeth A. Rogers Visionary Foundation, because
Oh,
I know it is.
tell us more. Tell us more about that.
I just want to help other entrepreneurs
Is
realize
that your
their dream.
mother's name? That's your mother's
That's
name?
my name. That's no, my mother's name was Frances, but that's my
Oh,
great.
wait, now that's right. We don't even call you by your real name, by your full
Yes.
name.
Yes, I'm Elizabeth Rogers. That's my great grandmother's name, but my mom's
Oh.
name is Frances. But I really, why I started Creamalicious, I really just want to help other entrepreneurs realize their dream. I just know what it's like to be rejected. I know what it's like to have doors slammed in your face. I know what it's like to lose everything. I just want entrepreneurs today to understand, like, maybe I've never met you and I never will meet you. And maybe, we'll never cross paths, but I just want them to understand that somebody out there believes. And that somebody is me, because at the end of the day, I think that in my lowest moment in business and just in grief and pain of just things going wrong, where I felt like I wanted to give up, somebody out there believed in me. I knew that somebody was counting on me and believed in me. And sure enough, I get letters from all over the country all the time. I tell people I have met tons and tons of celebrities, and it's been a challenge because you send ice cream and it's like, hey, if I eat this on Instagram, you need to give me $100,000 or give me 30% of your business and different things like that. And a lot of people don't understand, like, that's hard, like, we should be, if we're at a level that we can partner and help businesses, we should. Information is free. Somebody gave me this information. What do I look like charging somebody for it? Nobody charged me, nobody, I didn't pay for this information. It came to me, but I feel like if we pay it forward and we're good people and we're kind, I always say, instead of a random act of kindness, it's a random act of goodness. I feel like if, my reach is only this far, but if I can reach out and touch somebody, they can touch somebody, and before you know, we're across the globe. And that's how we build, So I welcome entrepreneurs to reach out to me, and if they're serious,
Yes.
that are trying to get their business together, I want them to reach out to me and just ask questions. If I can answer it through email and help them and direct them, somewhere. And then all I'm saying is, if somebody reach out to you, and need a question, tell them.
Yeah, I love that. So the Elizabeth A. Rogers Foundation is mentoring.
Yeah, it's a lot of mentoring, and I'm hoping, through the success of Creamalicious, after I raise, money for my company and I'm starting to make money, I'm hoping to be able to invest in other entrepreneurs as well.
We love
that. Have my own little Shark Tank.
Yes. With all your skills, I totally see how that would be so helpful. And thank you so much for extending that offer to the Black on Shelf family. I think we need so much more of that access, that exposure. You're so right about that.
Yeah, you gotta live life deliciously. That's what I say. We're like, if everybody would mind their own biscuits, then life would be gravy. So, it's kind of like, those are some of my little sayings, it's like, how you doing? I'm just living life deliciously, and, life can just be a little bit sweeter, it doesn't have to always be, crazy and messy. I feel like, it's so funny when I see people eat my banana pudding online. It's like how they close their eyes, and it's like, it's so cool. Like, and my favorite dessert in the world is cupcakes.
Is that a hint to something in the future? I'm wondering.
Creamalicious has a couple of other product lines that are coming out, and I really want to do something. I really need a pastry chef. I wish that I can partner with a pastry chef. Creamalicious has a frozen dessert line. So my prayer is that I can find a dope pastry chef that's super creative, that can really, that want to have their own business, that we could do something together partnership wise. And, because I have the opportunity and the platform, it's just about seeking the talent right now.
Okay, Chef Liz, you calling all pastry chefs and culinary folks. We're going to partner and we're going to do a session helping folks who are culinary minded, get their food product on shelf, from an angle of their own experience, being able to tell their story of a generational recipe or something they're able to make. We're going to do that. and
Yes,
get
please.
people in front of you. I love that, because you're so
Yes.
willing and you're clearly doing it. So this is a great time for people who are like, could that be me? Yes, listen to Chef Liz's story.
Well, I mean, you gotta want it. It could be you,
You
know,
gotta
like
want, it could be.
it could, I mean, it's really crazy because I'm like an ordinary person, you know, like I hope people can see that, you know, it's tangible. I'm like right there in the store shopping with a cart with like you. It's like I'm not some bigger than life person. This isn't like, you know, a one out of 100 people make something. It's just really like anybody, you know, with the right frame of mind and the right resources. If you don't have opportunities, if you feel like you don't have the opportunity, you need to go out and create it yourself. You know, that's where I'm at. I'm not sitting around like, oh, if somebody give me a chance, oh, if someone would invest in my business, I'm just going to go out here and create these opportunities on my own, you know, if I don't have them.
We're here for
You know?
that. Yes.
Mhm.
So tell me, of all these milestones that have happened for you, which ones do you cherish the most?
I really think it was just so cool when I was able to like reopen my restaurant, you know, because so much had been lost and literally some things were taken from me. And that was a really big milestone as well for me, because it was just like a cheers to the underdog, you know, when you have people that, you know, really count you out and you persevere through it. And it's crazy because when you're in that storm of trying to run your business, trying to build your business, trying to figure out what move to make, having failures, learning lessons, and then you get to a point where you're scared to make a move because you're questioning yourself. When you have something happen, as a human being, you question yourself. Anybody that's sitting out there anywhere, I would read things like, oh, I've never made any mistakes. I've never had a failed business. Well, I mean, you're definitely, I don't know anybody that's super successful. You can't have success without failures. That doesn't even make sense to me. You know, what do you know? Like, I would rather invest in somebody that had 10 failures than somebody that didn't have any. So it's one of these things where, you know, that was a huge milestone. And I think the day that I went in the store and my ice cream was on the shelf next to Ben and Jerry's. Ben and Jerry's was on the right and Haagen-Dazs was on the left and I was in the middle.
Oh,
That was crazy because I'm like, oh my God, I'm like really on the shelf next to two giants. Who does that? And then you say, how did I get to be like one of the first, like the only one in mass production right now? How did that happen? And it's like, that's so cool. Like, but I feel like it's just a start, you know, like I feel like there's going to be more to come. That's how I feel.
Yeah. Do you think we'll ever see a scoop shop?
So for me personally, I have a restaurant and I don't think I believe so much in traditional scoop shops for Creamalicious, because Creamalicious, we have a very extensive product line that's going to be coming out soon. But we do pastries and stuff too. So it's two in one.
Yeah.
So I think what I ended up doing is putting a business model together where it's kind of like the Cheesecake Factory, where we would just drop our Creamalicious right there in your restaurant that has pastries, ice creams with the milkshakes and, you know, stuffed donuts and all that stuff. So it really, I created something where it really would help to give restaurants a boost in sales as well. So it's, you know, putting the business model inside of a restaurant. And, you know, I think the scoop shop is great, but I feel like, you know, with the rent and everything, like, you know how many scoops we would have to sell. But if it's in a restaurant sees customers all year and all day, every day until it's closed. But, you know, being here in Ohio, you know, we only have X amount of summer. So I didn't think that was a good look. So,
and you know, the restaurant, that's the great thing. You have this, you have the backdrop of the restaurant experience to know, hey, doing it incrementally, like partnering with restaurants and giving this as an option is a better move for what you're trying to do. And, you know, and your focus areas.
I would rather just, I already do this inside my restaurant. I would really, I have two other restaurants that's going to happen. I would just really rather drop that business model in an existing footprint.
Yes.
I mean, you know, it would be super cool because, you know, you make a ton of money. I mean, you got your customers sitting there and at the very least, they're gonna take something to go And then, you know, you don't have to worry with your food costs because, you know, that business model would service all of your desserts. And you have a lot of restaurants that do not offer desserts right now that want to, but this is very cool. It kind of reminds you of Shell gas station and Popeyes, you know, like they're together, you know, or Pizza Hut, you know, when you go out of town, you'll see Pizza Hut in there with, you know, some type of fuel and different things like that. So that's my scoop shop thing that
concept.
I'm doing.
Awesome. So we heard those milestones and they definitely sound important to you. I can see why. Talk to us about the next frontier. We've alluded to it, but tell us, what can we expect, whether it's short-term or long-term from Creamalicious?
We do have the new flavors coming out this summer, 7 new flavors. And it does consist of a sorbet vegan line, really cool. So we have a mimosas and sangria line, really cool concept of Creamalicious.
Yes.
And some novelties that'll be coming next year. And we do have coffee creamers. So it's like sip a scoop. So it's you know, it's going to be really cool, and it's like putting Creamalicious in a cup of coffee. So it's very decadent, very indulgent. So we have a couple of things coming out, and hopefully be able to, you know, continue to get a great platform. And, you know, I'm honestly super excited about, I'm just super excited about the investors that'll be coming in from crowdfunding, because now they get to be a part of my dream, and I get to be a part of theirs, you know, which is generational wealth.
Yes, absolutely. We just, those types of opportunities. The last brand, Curl Mix, did that.
Oh yeah.
Curl Mix, and had a lot of success. So, you know, I think this blueprint can work for companies that, you know, where we know this consumer understands the product, they want to be a part of it, and definitely excited for your journey to begin with that. We talked a lot about lessons and advice, and I feel like we covered a good bit, but I'll let you think through if there's any other thing you can think of from your experience where you'd want to give someone some foresight of that.
You know, I just want people just to, you know, a lot of us have more time in back of us than we have in front of us. And I think that, you know, over the last couple of years with COVID and different things, I really feel like we've truly dealt with some unprecedented times. We've been faced with understanding that tomorrow really isn't promised, that life is very short. It's not like we didn't know that before, but I just really feel like we've just ignored, you know, the fact that, you know, it's just really getting real. You know, we look at mental illness and just people, you know, going through depressions that seem to have it all together in a bright future, but you don't know what's going on inside. So just, you know, focusing on just being a better person, not just for your family and not just for yourself, but, you know, just being kind, you know, and giving back and reaching back and helping, you know, and, you know, supporting people's brands. You know, I see a lot like people going online, you know, tearing down other people's brands or putting brands names in other people's, you know, I don't know, strands. And it's really weird because you see some people that are just they're very mean, and they clearly don't want other people to be successful. I think that we should just really focus on just being happy for other people. When other people reach milestones and victories and they have great things happening to their businesses, we should be happy, because I just feel like you would be blessed. I just really am super proud of you, because what you're doing, like I said, you got the it factor. And I just really, I'm very, very clear on that, whatever it is that you're trying to do and whatever it is that you want to do, just go for it. You don't have anything else to lose. The last thing I would say, the spirit of regret is not something that you want to live with, because at the end of the day, you don't want to sit somewhere and wonder what you could have done for the rest of your life. You don't. There's millions of people sitting on the couch like, oh my goodness, like, what if I would have went to college? What if I would have pursued this or pursued that? That regret eats you up. It keeps you from living. And just start living and stop just merely existing. You know, some of us are just walking around, we're just merely existing, and you can't get that time back. You know, you just can't. So those are some of the things that I have to say, you know.
Jeez. Chef Liz, you're so good at this.
I'm more than ice cream. So I'm more
Way
than ice cream.
more.
I tell people all the time, I'm so much more than ice cream, you know, just you know, surround yourself with brilliance. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell my team all the time, I want to be the dumbest person in the room, you know, just surround yourself with brilliance and strength, you know, just be strong, you know.
Totally. So you've just had so many meaningful experiences, and I just wonder, within this breakout year for you, it seems, right, and there's more on the horizon for you, what does it mean for you to be Black on Shelf with this, you know, mass produced national distribution brand headed for great things and expanding
it's
every day?
a lot of pressure, a lot of, you know, listen, I tell people all the time, you know, like I don't cook with politics. I'm an executive chef, but that's an ingredient I don't cook with. So politics makes any dish rancid. But at the end of the day, you know, if you decide that you're going to put that jersey on and get out there and play and get in the game, understand that sometimes it's not going to be an even playing ground. Understand that it's not going to be fair all the time. And who cares? You know, like for me, I know it's not going to be, I'm not going to complain about it. You decided to suit up and get in the game. Now you need to play. And, you know, I'm trying to get a championship ring. I'm trying to score. I'm trying to do what I can, you know, because I want to work at a level of excellence and I want to be the best that I can be if I'm in the game and if I decided. So at the end of the day, you know, being on that show, being a minority company, you're not going to get as many chances. You're not going to get, you know, clearly, you know, an understanding, you know, that other companies will receive. It's not going to be fair all the time. You're going to have to make your own opportunities. You know, they're not going to just be handed to you. And I don't want anything handed to me. The truth of the matter is, you know, I'm not other brands. I'm my brand. You know, if people, I never compare other ice cream pints to other ice cream pints because they are who they are and I am who I am. But at the same time, you know, we have to understand that I am on the shelf because of a lot of hard work, people believing in me, people giving me opportunities, me going to get opportunities for my brand and my family. I have a very good product. I feel like my product can be better as I go. We are running a really good business. We have an amazing team. And oh, by the way, Creamalicious is owned by an African-American woman. That's what is the last and final thing. It's not, oh, she's Black. It's not the Black-owned ice cream. This is a multicultural, diverse brand. I make this ice cream. I'm a chef. People, no matter what color they are, like good food. That's crazy. And, you know, Creamalicious is extremely agile. We're very innovative. And I refuse to be put in a box. And oh, by the way, I'm an African-American woman and I'm very proud of it, you know, at the end of the day. So, you know,
the whipped cream it's the cherry on top.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, really? I didn't know, you know, stuff like that. So it's just crazy, you know. So you know, people try to put us in a box and lead with it. But even in my restaurant is very diverse. You know, we have people from all walks of life that eat there. You know, we can't say, you know, it's Southern cuisine, but everybody eats, you know, macaroni and cheese and green bean. Everybody, no matter who you are, we have to stop, you know, trying to paint ourselves in a box. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, we get on the shelf, but we need to stay on the shelf. And that means just supporting and, you know, going to So Creamalicious. All of our handles is SoCreamalicious.com or at So Creamalicious, you know, and sharing and calling these stores, you know, requesting Creamalicious, creating a demand for Creamalicious. You know, when that crowdfunding comes, make sure that you invest and put it on your pages and share and make sure that we have something that we can be proud of, because this came with a lot of sacrifice, but I'm up for the challenge. And it's not just Creamalicious, it's going to be helping other people too. I mean, I'm already doing that and those people are helping other people and we just kind of start a movement.
I love it. That's where we're empowered, right? Like put our action, put our energy where it matters. And that's where, in fact, for entrepreneurs, we're recording this during Black History Month. You're going to be getting a lot of tags and everything. What is maybe the top 3 things folks can do to really support a business of your size and scale? I'm hearing tell the retailers that don't have you to be carrying you, right? That's one.
Correct.
What would you say?
2, make sure that when that crowdfunding hits,
Well, yep.
Yeah, make sure that you invest or share it on your, just be an advocate, so that we can own a piece of history. And then, just make sure that you're supporting, just make sure that you're being positive and supporting. And, if there's anything I can do to make my brand better, if you don't like something, just send me an email so that I can learn and be better, because I just want to perfect my brand. I want to be better. Like I want to be the best that I can possibly be, and, support the underdog, because that's what I am, and I'm okay with that. And I'm really cool with that, because that's what it is.
Love it. So we have our 3 ways to support Chef Liz and Creamalicious. And we're so excited to be able to do that. Thank you for your generous information, your beautiful spirit, your delicious ice cream, making history and being a living legend. We give you your flowers right now.
Thank you for my flowers. I
yes,
appreciate it.
we give you your flowers right now, and we're going to always eat your ice cream too.
And don't forget about me when you get famous.
You're gonna get there. You gotta get there first. So
no.
Top together.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
At the top together. It was such a pleasure having you and hearing your story. I mean, just even more admiration for you, hearing all that you have gone through and all that you're looking to continue to walk into and accomplish. Even more inspired, honestly.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, you have a great one.